All right, so today I have the real honor and pleasure of meeting you, Rod Chelberg. I'm so thrilled to have you here today as my guest. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you, Viv. It's really an honor to be part of your Wake Up podcast show. I think this is a wonderful gift that you are giving the world, and I'm quite honored to be here.
Thank you. Rod, so you have had a very interesting life, but before we dig into your mission, can you please tell me a little bit about you? Who are you?
Sure. I'm a retired medical doctor. I trained in internal medicine in Minneapolis, Minnesota, did a residency at Abbott Northwestern where I studied hospital medicine and ICU critical care medicine. Then I practiced general medicine for 10 years in Minneapolis. Then I moved to Bangor, Maine, and I practiced emergency room medicine for 14 years. Following this, I was the medical director for 4 nursing homes in Bangor, as well as the medical director for Beacon Hospice. So I've had a career of 28 years in medicine, and during that time, I've seen 65 to 70,000 patients. And a lot of the people that I've experienced passed away. In 2016, I had a stroke, a massive stroke that took out my right side, my left face, my speech, and it took me 3 years to recover from that. So during that time, I lost my medical license. I just couldn't remember how to write a prescription. I called it a stroke of good luck because as a result of not working and having time, I was able to write a book about so many of my mystical experiences entitled When God Calls, Say Yes. And then I started to lecture all the way from Florida up the East Coast, Boston, about my mystical experiences and how they can help people overcome their own blocks to love's presence, which is partly why I'm here, is to help promote that we are all individualized Christ consciousness. We just have to learn to get out of that. So that's my story.
Wow, amazing, very profound, very interesting. Now, my first question that popped up in my head is mystical experiences. What would that look like? How did that start the first time you had that experience, the mystical experience?
It started as a child in 2nd grade. I had what's called a near-death experience in the hospital. I had a very bad kidney infection. I had an allergic reaction to one of the medicines and I stopped breathing. So during that time, I saw darkness all around me. I floated out of my body, and at first I was very afraid. But as I left, I saw this white light, which everybody says to go to the light. I went to the light, and as I did so, this profound peace settled upon me. I never made it into the light because I was resuscitated and brought back. And as a child, I really don't remember much about it other than it left a profound impression upon me. What I realized later was that I was given 3 gifts, and one is to see the color of people's hearts. I could see red, green, and blue. The second gift was the ability to astral travel or leave my body at will. And the third gift was to be able to connect through meditation on a very deep level with the divine. Later in life, those gifts popped up and became mystical experiences, which we can talk about, but that's how it started.
Wow, very interesting. So these 3 gifts, the color of the hearts, astral travels, and meditation with the divine, how has that impacted your life to be able to see the color of someone's heart?
When seeing the color of somebody's heart, it's not on everybody, and people's heart colors change. I find that those colors represent divine colors. Of blue is omniscience, red is omnipotent. No, that's green. Green is omnipotent, and red is divine love. When somebody's very spiritual, their colors on their heart, I can see that. And I just know they're a spiritual person. It's not everybody that does this, but people who have a very high vibration, and who are in tune with the divine, they allow the divine to come through them, and it comes out of their heart. And I get to see that.
Wow, it's amazing.
Mm.
And so you can basically see if someone is spiritual instantaneously, like
Correct.
What a
So
gift.
that gift then grew in the ability to see auras on people. And the auras I see are on a gray scale. They're either clear, white, light gray, or black. So people who are very spiritual have a clear aura, and I see their energy field expanding. It's very helpful as a physician. Where I started to see this was in my patients, starting when I was doing my internal medicine residency. I could see the colors of people, and I knew, for example, in the intensive care unit, when somebody was dying, their aura would change from white to gray and eventually turn to black. I could see this. I didn't tell people about this. They think I was crazy, but I could always tell this person's getting ready to leave, and if they are making the transition from this body to spirit. So they're pulling their energy out of the body and becoming more Christ-like, more divine, more spiritual. So that's what I see.
And when you came in contact with the divine for your meditation, what was the experience like the first time you had that? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I still remember it. It's very difficult to describe the divine experience with human words. It's a knowing, it's a oneness, it's profound peace, profound love. Your mind has expanded to infinity. It's hard to describe that. I can't say God is love because we all have different definitions of love, but God is just pure love. So when you cross into this plane, and I did this through astral travel, I crossed into heaven, you become a thought of love in the mind of God. All concepts of time and space, body, rod are gone. That's just an illusion, a concept, a dream, if you will. And you wake up, I and my Father are one, and you're held, and you see the eyes of love looking down at you, and you feel this beautiful love of oneness. Imagine, if you will, that you're a drop of ocean water, and I pick you up and I throw you back into the ocean. Where are you? You're in there, but you're now one with 7 oceans. That is an incredibly uplifting, freeing spiritual experience. There is no limitations. You're just one with pure love.
Unconditional love, right?
Correct. And the only word I can use is awe. It's just awe.
And how did your life change after that experience?
After that experience, I wanted it more and more. So I practiced daily meditations, and I touched the divine as often as I can. I get a feeling of a tingling, a warmth, a joy, tremendous feeling of peace. My mind becomes utterly quiet when I do this. During the day, I want to stay in peace all day long. And I also want to give you this beautiful peace. I said, here you go. That type of love is just so generous. I want everybody to wake up and feel this profound peace. So I'm going to help my brother come back, if you will.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And how did you apply this in your work?
In my work as a doctor, I'll focus on that first. But when patients come into the ER, I would learn to be very quiet and receptive and always ask the question, what does God have to say? God speaks to us all day long with every heartbeat. I think of it as God knocking at our door of our consciousness. We just don't listen. In the ER, so I can give you lots of stories, but in general, patient comes in, they are unresponsive and dying, they're critical. I've learned to get really quiet and listen. What does the divine have to say? And the divine in these situations is very clear. This is what's wrong with your patient. Here's what you need to do to save their life. So a woman came in, had chest pain, 45 years old, and she was in the garden working, having a great day.
Yeah.
Everybody was laughing. The paramedics said, she's fine, don't worry about it. They put her in the bed, and the voice of God, the Christ conscious voice, said, she's having an acute heart attack. Do an EKG. So I did this, and the nurses were like, why are you doing that? If you press on her chest right here, it hurts. She's obviously got muscle strain. So I did the 12 lead, and it turned out she had a lethal 12 lead EKG. She had about 90 minutes to live. That woke him up.
Wow. Ooh, chills.
We
Amazing.
appropriate medicine and ended up saving her life. So by learning to say that I invite the divine in, and I learn to be quiet and listen, truly be quiet and listen, you're always given guidance. You're always given help. Do this, do this, do this. And I don't care what the world says. This is what I do. You absolutely know that this is the truth. There's no doubt in your mind. So that conviction ends up, that person's alive now because of your listening. I have many stories like that, and we can share stories, or we can proceed.
Share another one that you remember very profoundly.
There's so many, but
I
I'm working at the end of the ER shift, and I'm an adult medicine doctor. I really don't like children. They scream and they hurt my ears. So the other doctors take care of pediatrics. 8 o'clock is the end of my shift. I've shut my computer down, and they bring in an infant, 1.5 years old infant with a mother, give it to the pediatrician. And the pediatrician said, Rod, I've ordered a chest x-ray. Go see this patient. I'm just too busy. And so I went and saw this child, and he's got diapers on, sitting on mom's lap, and she's holding him to the chest. And he's obviously in severe respiratory distress. So I sat down getting ready to talk to her. I looked at the chest x-ray. He had bilateral pneumonia. I looked back at the child, and at that instant, the child slumped forward of the mom's chest and died. What I saw was the white aura of the child lift up and hover up here about a foot. The presence of Christ came in and told me, put your hand on the baby's back, which I did. The child was thinking, shall I leave this world or shall I stay? And then Christ said to the little child, stay, little one. So I'm rubbing his back, and I hear this voice, and that aura went back in, and the child started to breathe. I called the pediatric code blue, and we were able to resuscitate the child and save his life. So that's another mystical experience that I had.
Wow.
In time crisis, you learn to listen and be quiet and invite the divine in.
This sounds like the future, right? In medicine.
Miracles.
Yeah.
Miracles. Medicine has come a long way, but we're still stuck about concepts of death. Hard to believe that a miracle occurred because we can't measure it and I can't reproduce it. And we're doctors, we're scientists. We like hard data and facts. It doesn't work that way with spirit. Everybody has a different journey, so you have to accept that. Medicine is not ready for that just yet. But I think there's more and more doctors speaking out about near-death experiences, about miracles and cures that make no sense. This lady's got metastatic breast cancer. She changes her mind and her cancer is gone. How is that possible? We don't
Yeah.
understand that. And it's like, but we're getting there. We're starting to understand and wake up.
Mm. And we know for a fact that everything is energy. I mean, we have scientists actually doing some research now that everything is energy.
Exactly. Einstein in 1905 showed that everything is potential energy. You are energy. I am energy. So you have the E energy part is mass times the speed of light squared. So it goes back and forth. And so E energy can be rewritten as God. And the MC squared part can be written as man. And we have a choice. Are we going to choose to live our life with the divine as a guide or with the ego as a guide? So you have a choice. And the more you choose to live with the Christ consciousness, that love comes down and comes out into your life and becomes what's called the added things, the cars, the house, the relationship, the money. Opening your mind to the divine and allowing that channel of Christ to come in is a very nice way to live. You live in peace. But take a log, a firewood log, you put it on the fire. You're in Sweden. Just have a fire.
Yeah.
Light it. And what happens?
Mm.
That human body, it gets burned up. It turns to smoke, which goes out. And the trees convert the smoke into oxygen. It turns ash. We put that in the ground. That becomes fertilizer. And what is the energy you feel but heat? So you start to look at the world and say, fire log gets transformed into energy. It's fluid. It goes back and forth.
Very true. And I think we are obviously going through a shift on this planet where we are raising our consciousness and raising our frequencies and stepping more into the heart.
I believe so. I know so. In my meditations, I have for a while, the trajectory of this planet is going more into positive spirituality. We're going through a huge change right now. An analogy, if you will, is that this world is entombed in a cocoon like a butterfly. And we thought we were worms, right? But now we've spun this web. Oh, the world's going to end and we're going to have all these problems. But the spirit in us is starting to crack. And we find that very fearful. But once it opens up and you say, wait a second, I've got wings, I can fly. Humanity is going to ascend just like Christ did to a much higher spiritual level. In my mind, my belief is that we're going to turn around and help our brothers because we're going to learn that we're all one in divine consciousness. So you see yourself as a body, I see myself as a body, but that's not true. The truth is you are individualized divine consciousness and I am. It's back to the ocean analogy. You take you out and you think you're a separate wave, separate piece of ocean. We throw you back in. You see, well, I'm in that ocean too, and my wife is in that, and the president, and all these crazy people, and all these lovely people. We're all connected at the divine. What we do with that love is we have our individual personalities and believe we're separate. So I believe the world, I know the world is growing. It's just going through a metamorphosis. There are fewer wars in this world than, say, several thousand years ago. There's overall less crime. That's essential that we're going. more people are getting on aid to different countries. You know, where there's aggression, we stop the aggression. We try to bring peace. You know, we attacked Japan, Japan attacked us. Afterwards, we brought them food and supplies to help them rebuild. We did the same with Afghanistan. Why should we do that?
Mm.
We did because compassion took over and said, we don't need to suffer. We don't need to create more enemies. That's a very high level of vibration that we're all ascending to.
And with there being one, we have to create this together, the new earth. So we all have to work with one consciousness, right?
Correct. So there are people, I call them light workers. You're a light worker. Why are you doing this? It's because you have compassion. You care about your fellow man. You've seen glimpses of the divine, and you're reaching behind and say, I'm going to make this podcast for people to see. And they're going to go, oh, humanity's at a 25-watt light bulb. You're at 50 watts. And you're saying, I'm going to shine my light to help these people see that life can be better than it is with my podcasts. And I'm also going to heal myself from my belief that I'm this body and that I am, in fact, a divine consciousness. So you've sent it up to 75-watt light bulb. They're at 25 watt. You see how your light is so bright that you lift humanity. So you help heal the past, the future, and you heal all of your friends and all the people that see this podcast. You are a bright light. So you're a light worker. And there's light workers all over this planet, slowly coming together, raising the light, raising the vibration and frequency, making it brighter so everybody can see. There is no darkness. God is light. That's all there is. Darkness is fear. The light that you are having, the light that I'm having, lights up the world. There's more God in the world, there's less darkness.
Thank you so much. It's lovely.
You're welcome.
Do you think in terms of twin souls, do you believe in that concept of twin souls, that your soul split in two halves and you incarnate on this planet in two different bodies?
I suppose there's a lot of things I don't understand, but it's still the same. You're still the same individualized Christ consciousness, that you're all one. And it's just like, oh, maybe they were husband and wife in a lifetime, brother and sister. And now they say, well, let's try something different. Let's be twin souls. You see, there's all these nuances. And to be honest with you, I frankly don't care. What I care about is saying, Viv, there's God, the divine light. Would you like to go and meet God? I don't get distracted by chakras and Akashic records and mediums and psychics. They're all wonderful gifts. They all help people. I'm more concerned in saying, I'm going to take your hand and I'm going to introduce you to your divinity. Which would you rather have? See, so everything's possible. God is everything. God is the substance of all form. In humanity, we believe in duality, good and evil. Yet, inside the evil, there is still the divine. They just chose to put a dark lampshade over their divinity, while somebody else decided to put a clear lampshade over their divinity. As humans, we judge, oh, that person's an evil person because he's got a black lampshade. This person's good because he's got a clear. I'm asking you, go higher and see with the video that person is divine. With the person with the black lampshade, he's asking for love from you, and you extend your compassion. He's saying, help me lift this lampshade. You're a bright light, 75 watts. I'm stuck at 5 watts. It's not fun. you're filled with compassion. You reach back and you help your fellow man. That's also called forgiveness. Forgive your brother. Help him. Look through the illusion and help him to lift that off and to be free.
Mm.
That's your job as a light worker, and that's what you're doing.
Yeah, and also the letting go of the judgment that, other people are bad. It just is. Everything just is exactly how it's meant to be, supposed to be. And people are just having a bad behavior. They're not bad souls. It's just a behavior that can be bad, right?
Correct.
And don't meet that behavior with the same behavior back. Be higher, be better.
Exactly.
Raise above.
How are they going to learn? You accelerate their growth when you don't buy into. So I look at the news. Well, actually, I don't. I stopped looking at the news in 1980. There's Putin who's invading Ukraine, and we look at Putin and say he's an evil man, and the Ukrainians are innocent people. We got to love them and hate Putin. That's ego consciousness. God consciousness is look harder and see a wounded child as Putin who's scared and stuck. He's got a black shade on him. And look at the Ukrainians and saying, they're stuck. They have a different shade. But it's like, I don't understand Russian. I don't understand Ukrainian. They're asking for help. They're asking for love in different languages. As human beings, we judge that, we condemn, we hold grievances. That puts us in darkness. Because now when I hear the word Putin, I get all upset, which means I can't hear God. And God says, he is my holy child. I created him, and all I see is love. I look at Viv and see what she's done. All I see is love. So you learn, because of your bright light, to see from a higher vantage point that everything is fine. God is right here walking with us. This world is a dream world, if you will. It's a movie. It's a vast illusion. Watch the movie, or you're sitting in the audience. Do you want to get up and go outside and be in the light of God?
Yeah.
And you're going to have so much fun. You're going to open the movie theaters and say, let's turn this movie off. Come out and play. God loves it. God loves joy, peace, and happiness. Let the movie go. This world, your body is going to end at some point, and you're going to lay it down. And you're going to do the best you can taking care of it and being spiritual and trying to help fellow man. But eventually, when you lay that down, that body, you're going to be free to choose, do I want to go home back into the ocean, or do I want to recycle and come back and try it again?
Yeah.
I'm good. I want to go home. I'm done.
Yeah. I'm done. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. By forgiving, you are having a fast track out of here. Forgive everyone and everything, right?
Forgiveness means not human forgiveness, where you and I fight and we war, and then we decide that's enough, we're exhausted, we write a piece of paper. But in a few years, we're mad at each other again and we fight again. That's human forgiveness. Spiritual forgiveness is looking through the illusion. I look through your illusion of a body and I see the Christ of you. That allows me to see the Christ in me. And I go, hey, I'm talking to myself. That's true forgiveness, is looking through the apparent problems of, here in the United States, people with guns shooting people, earthquakes, fires, wars, poverty, wealth. That's all part of the movie. And I choose to step back and I say, God, walk in front of me, light my way, and let God take care of it. And God's going to turn around and say, Viv, you have come so far. Will you let me talk through you I don't speak human, I speak love. But now you speak love and you speak human. You're a translator. In spirituality, we call that the Holy Spirit, a bridge, or we call it Christ consciousness. You become translator and you're starting to put out these podcasts. You're allowing God to come through you and say, I am here. I am closer than you're breathing. I am everything you see. And you're helping me to understand that I am a divine consciousness and that I can choose. You're going to teach me how to listen and learn. That's what you're doing. So you're a translator.
Wow. Very profound. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm thinking healing, right? That's why healing is so important, that we all take responsibility for our healing journey. Because if you have like an open sore on your hand and someone will touch it, it will hurt like hell, right? Because you know you're bleeding. Whereas if it's healed, you have no sore on your hand, it won't affect you. So in order to be better than other people, when people have terrible behavior to you and are evil and bad, if you've done your healing job, it won't affect you. So you will be able to bounce back, you know, send it back. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. As you learn to disconnect from the behaviors of others, a narcissistic person, for example, who's abusive, you learn to disconnect from that person. And you say to yourself, as Christ said to Pontius Pilate, you have no power over me. The only power is God. Okay, so this person, I don't suffer abuse. If he hits me, I'm going to defend myself. I'm not a pacifist. If I have a chance to vote, I vote. But I still step back and say that is a cry for love. And I'm going to give him compassion and love. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I want the Christ in him to become free and unlimited. He can't do that by himself. He's crying for love and help. It takes a very high spiritual mind to say, I'm going to forgive this behavior. But if he needs to be in jail, so be it. He's going to go to jail. I can't allow people to foster fear, anger, and upset. We want peace, love, and joy. So I take care of it. But I do not think of him as an evil person. I think of him as trapped and stuck. I'm going to bless him and love him. If it's really hard for me, then I ask the divine Christ, Holy Spirit, God, Buddha, whatever you want to call it, but I ask divine love, go before me, make these crooked roads straight, be a blessing to this person, help him. That's what I want to do. And God says, thank you. That's one more person that is being healed in the sonship. It's hard to do, I have to say, but when you bring in the divine and say, I'm going to get quiet and listen, what does the divine have to say? The divine says, this is my holy child in whom I'm well pleased. Okay, give yourself a little time. You realign your thinking with God, and all of a sudden you're one. And then it gets very easy because God is giving you the strength and the power to love. And subconsciously or consciously, that person feels love and he heals. That's true healing. He's going, I don't have to act this way. It's my choice. Maybe there's a better way because of your light. I can see farther. And I see love in the distance. That's where I want to go. It's like my yard. I turn on a lamp and all the moths come to it. Why is that? Because they're attracted to the light. So you're a light worker and you attract these people and you bless them with divine love because you've agreed to be a channel to help people. And your medium is the podcast. And these people are watching this and going, oh, I've made a mistake. I just made a mistake. I did not sin. I made a mistake. And I can go home because of what others have done. All these other light workers that are in the world are helping humanity to grow and to become free. So
amazing. Light workers. Did you know very early on that you were a light worker? Did you feel different from the rest? I mean, you had your NDE, but did you feel like you were just different?
Not really, not at first. I thought it was interesting that I could see colors and I could see into people. I had these wonderful mystical experiences, and I just sort of, doesn't everybody have those? Don't you see colors? Don't you see? I mean, that's your assumption. And then after a while, I learned I'm the medical director of the emergency room, and I'm seeing Christ in the ER. I'm hearing Christ. I don't exactly tell people that because they think I was crazy. That's called schizophrenia, and they'd lock me up and say, goodbye, Rod. So it's just, you learn to be careful with what you say. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
So you kept it to yourself, you know, obviously in your profession as well, it's very sensitive.
I had a patient who had chest pain, and he was really wound tight and nervous. And so I did a 12 lead of his chest and looking at it. And the patient says, Doc, what do you see? Well, Christ was on my right. Now I was looking at it and I said, Christ, I don't see anything here. Do you see anything? And he said, no. He said, the man has acid burn in his stomach and it's acting like a heart attack. So give him this medicine. Well, the man is asking me, what do I see? And I just about said, give me a minute. I'm talking to Christ. If he didn't have a heart attack then, he would have had a heart attack afterwards.
Amazing.
People, how do you feel? It's like, give me a second. I'm talking to Christ. Okay, can I have another doctor, please? The world's just not ready to accept people like me. And so I'm going off on a tangent, but I've self-diagnosed myself as having divine schizophrenia. In other words, it's love, peace, and joy. I see Christ, I hear Christ, not all the time, but I get intuitions, strong intuitions. Maybe you do.
I do,
but,
yes.
Well, then you have divine schizophrenia, and it's great. And it's like, I'm going to start loving people. My spiritual sense of vision, my spiritual sense of hearing have become active. That's all. I'm learning to live at a higher frequency, and these internal spiritual senses are active.
I meditated today. Now, I just need to interrupt you there, but during my meditation this morning, I was sort of inquiring about you and said, is there any question I should ask Rod about? You know, is there any, you know, certain topics, or is there anything you want me to focus on? And I got the answer, no, you will enjoy yourself. You'll have a great time with Rod. That's it. Just enjoy. And I am. And I think it just works every time. Spot on.
Yeah, thank you. If I had to say one thing to everybody, if you want to start and stay on this mystical path, you have to, first of all, stop thinking. You have to disconnect that ego mind, that thinking monkey chatter mind. That's the first thing you have to do. The second thing is you have to create a pause, give space for God to come in. So you develop a listening attitude. To start off, here's a question for the meditation. What is God? And then listen and let that answer come to you. God is creative expression. God is love. God is you, your answers start to come, and it builds faith and confidence. The more you learn to then, number three, disconnect from the world, the freer you become. And finally, the fourth is you step back and let God lead the way. So stop thinking, oh, I don't have enough money. I stop. I don't go down that road of fear. Say, God will provide. Then I learn to get quiet, create a pause. This woman is in cardiac arrest in surgery. 2 cardiac teams worked on her. They couldn't save her. She was dying. The nurse came and grabbed me and brought me in, and I saw how bad everything was. I stopped thinking. I paused for about 3 seconds. And my only thought was, what does God have to say? And God said, they have misdiagnosed her problem. She's having an allergic reaction. Her blood is being filled with vinegar/poison, and she's dying. So I gave her the antidotes, and within 15 minutes, she was alive. Learning to pause and say, what does God have to say? You get miraculous results. You will be getting the perfect answer. It could be simple like yesterday, I lost my cell phone. And I started scurrying around the house. Where is it? And I said, what am I doing? Stop. I got quiet. And I said, God, where's my cell phone? And immediately, Rod, it's upstairs in your pant pocket from yesterday that you hung on the hook. So I go upstairs to my bedroom and, oh, there's my cell phone right in the pocket. So you learn the pause. You got to create space for God. Then you have to learn to listen and then rest or have faith or know that you were given the truth. And then you do it. Despite what the world says, you do it. And you go, oh, there's my cell phone. So those are the important things that I would say to anybody. It's nice to read. It's nice to do podcasts. It's nice to meditate. But there's foundations to this that you absolutely have to do if you really want to get going on this. So that's my message.
And how long do you need to pause for? Like, what's your experience per day, so to speak?
It's all day long. I read A Course in Miracles, Silent Unity, and Joel Goldsmith's spiritual literature for about half an hour to an hour. I have to have a cup of coffee, otherwise forget it. And then I meditate for about a half an hour, sometimes longer. I've been meditating so long that I can get into a very deep state of peace very quickly. And then in that state, I feel God. I feel a tingling sensation, a warmth, a comfort. That's a half an hour. But then the rest of the day, I stay centered in the presence of God. And I choose peace instead of this. That's my mantra. Or I and my Father are one. God is within me. That peace is so valuable. I don't want to throw it away over, let's say, a car crash or a bill or a health problem or an upset of any kind. That peace is so valuable. So I practice all day long. I have props around the house. They're called salt lamps. I like music, so I have tubes that you hit, and it's really fun. I'm up here talking to you, and Jody, my wife, will hit the tube, and it says, remember, I and my Father are one. I walk by the salt lamp, and I say, there's God. I and my Father are one. That reinforces in my unconscious mind that I am a divine being, and I don't want to throw that away for anything. So I use my little props. When I was younger, first learning this, I made note cards like that, and I would write, I choose peace instead of this. Let me see if I can find one.
Brilliant. Affirmations, right?
They're stronger than affirmations, but yes, I am divine consciousness. I am love. So I'm in the ER, and I put this in my pocket, like this, and I just touch it frequently. I touch it.
Yeah.
The ambulance is coming in with a critical patient. I touch this. If I get a moment, I read it. It's all practice. You can do all of this. You have to unlearn this world. So that's where reading spiritual material helps you, listening to podcasts helps you, and question, is this world real or is it an illusion? And if it's an illusion and God is reality, where do you want to focus your energy? So the world is a great distraction. You've got to have a job, make money, have a family. And guess what? You get all that. Are you happy? So, no, I made this big house. It takes a lot of money to support it. So I got to work a second job. It's crazy. Stop, rest, relax, listen. Let God take care of it. God says, I created you. I created you out of love. I want to give to you all the things that you need. Your job is to open up your heart and say, yes, I am love, and I'm going to let this love flow into my life. In the Course in Miracles, that's called the Great Rays. In Joel Goldsmith, it's called the added things. You need a car. I don't pray to God for a car. I pray to God, love me.
Yeah.
Let me love.
Beautiful.
And God knows that love flows and it manifests as a car. And you learn trust and you learn faith. In the Bible, I believe, help my unbelief, my doubt, my lack of faith. And God says, open your heart. Let my love flow as that bright light that you are, get brighter and brighter. And the things that you need are all provided for you. Stop looking in the outside world for what you want and look in your heart and go, oh, there's the money I need. Oh, there's the love I need, the house. God doesn't understand those things. He understands love. And that love flows through you. And suddenly it becomes the MC squared part of the equation. And the universe rearranges everything until you're happy.
Yeah.
So, on another tangent, if you're not happy with your life, you're 100% responsible for your life. Change your thinking. Oh, I'm not thinking correctly. I'm going to change my thinking. I don't like this life of poverty. What is it? Oh, I don't feel I'm worthy of the love of God, but God created me, so I am worthy of it, and I'm being tricked. Get rid of that thought and say, I'm going to let love be my guide now. I'm going to choose peace instead of this. I and my Father are one. The added things that they talk about in the Bible are then given to you. All you have to do is step back and let go, forgive, and be at peace. How simple is that?
Yeah, but the universe is also testing you at times.
You really think so?
Yes, because we had to grow, evolve, learn contrast, get to know ourselves.
The universe, if you say that I want an unhappy life, the universe is giving that to you. So you're the one that's creating that. The universe is saying yes to you. You have to change your mind and say, why is this reflection of an unhappy life coming to me? And it comes down to 3 fundamental facts. Number 1, I'm unworthy. 2, there's lack. And 3, I'm vulnerable. I can get sick. Those are all ego distractions. And you picked one of them. We all have that because we believe we're a body. But when you say instead, I am a divine being of love, there is only one power in the universe, that is God. There's no power in this human universe. The power it has comes from our beliefs.
Yeah.
If you're not happy, which of those three have I picked? And they're lies. So you look at the word belief, Belief. If you look at that word carefully, in the very center of it, you see the word lie. You're
Ah, true. Very. Yeah.
and you're projecting that out into the world, and the world
Mm.
says, yes. That's a big step to say, I'm responsible for all this. Yes.
Yes.
Change your thinking and say, I want a happy life. I'm going to let love flow, this beautiful light. I'm going to choose light instead of darkness. I'm going to choose love instead of fear. And you go, wait a second, you're not worthy of love. You're not worthy of grace. You've sinned. You're a miserable sinner. I've been told that in church many times. And I said, you know what? You guys are crazy. I love going to church for the music and the people. But when they say things like that, reinforcing the belief that I'm unworthy, that I need to pray and give money in order to gain God's affection. Wait a second. God created me out of love. And he says, all that I have is yours. God has given you everything. Who's not receiving it? That's you. Change your thinking, change your paradigm, change your life, and let God walk in front of you with a bright light and say, remember, you're my holy child. You have not sinned. You think you have, but it's just a mistake. I'm still in you, and I want to co-create your life with you. And suddenly the light goes bing, 25 to 50 watts, and your whole life changes. And you accept that you're worthy of divine love.
Gorgeous. How do you open your heart? Do you have any advice for people who wants to open their heart and become more, because the heart is a second brain, right?
The thing, yeah, it's practice again. And as I alluded to earlier, read spiritual literature, take time to meditate, take time to practice the presence. And then also, when you make the pause, ask God, Father, reveal yourself. I want to know. My only desire is to be one with God. So my meditations always start off, Father, hold me. Father, reveal yourself to me. Let me feel you. And that just gently starts to come into your life. And suddenly a book falls off the shelf and says, I think I should read this. That's God talking to you. I think I should listen to this podcast. Oh, I think I should go to this retreat. I'm starting to live in harmony instead of being separate from God. I say, Father, reveal thyself. Let me feel the presence. And I learn. I unlearn the insanity of this world, and I become one. And pretty soon it goes like that, and you live in peace. And all the troubles of the world, in the Bible, it says, 1,000 fall at your left, 10,000 fall at your right. All of these problems just start to melt away, and you walk in peace.
Yeah.
And that's just amazing.
It's the best feeling, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. So it's practice. It's just practice. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Just say every day, I'm making progress. I listen all day long. Where's my wallet? Simple things. But I'm always asking, should I invest in this or not? Should I do this or that? And then get quiet. It doesn't get any more scarier when someone's life is on the line and you stop thinking. This lady has I go off on tangents, but this lady has a very rapid, dangerous heart rhythm. So I give her the antidote. I have to literally stop her heart. And usually the heart stops for 15 seconds. It's a very scary time because they're dead. So I had one lady that I gave her the medicine. She went 30 seconds with no heartbeat. So at 15 seconds, the nurses are starting to get very nervous, like, we got to put the paddles, electrical paddles to her chest. And they talked to me and said, Dr. Chelberg, what are you doing? And I said, nothing. I'm doing something. I'm relaxing and trusting God. It's a nail biter. Like, okay, anytime now, I would like to start to see a heartbeat. And it happened. It does happen. You're never abandoned. You're never alone. And it's just, okay. And the nurses afterward go, you are crazy. That's a long time to go without a heartbeat.
Very long time. I mean, most people would have died, right?
Well, there's complications like, yeah, because it go from no heartbeat to a permanent no heartbeat. I just gave him a drug and killed him. It looks bad on my resume.
Now, what has been your biggest fear in your life, or is?
There are fears that I've had to work on. One is lack, not enough. My lineage, if I look back, started in Germany. The family immigrated to Russia under Catherine the Great. During that time, those families knew lack and poverty. They were killed, persecuted, whatnot. That tremendous fear was impregnated into our lineage. And then they come to America and they did a little bit better, but then the Depression hit. So again, my family lost everything and lived in pure poverty. That fear was imprinted into me. And now I come along and it's funny. I said, I make a good income. I have a nice home. Yet there's this deep fear of lack. And that's one of the fundamental fears of the ego, lack. And so for me, it's been, I'm going to work on that and see that that's not true, that God is my source. God is my supply. And the more I trust that and let that into my life, oh, look at that. There's the money I need. And I also made the decision my boys are not going to know this fear. My mother was always, oh, we don't have enough money. How are we going to pay the bills? And as a little child, that fear just gets put into you and you accept that as truth. So now I don't accept that as truth anymore. I accept that God is going to take care of it. So I need a new car. And I go, no, I can't afford that, but God can.
Yeah.
If I have fear, that stops the flow of love. So I say, I'm not going to have fear. I'm going to step aside. And my Father can afford this car. I don't know how, but the universe is going to say, here you go. Here's a car. So that fear has greatly diminished.
Well done.
That's my biggest fear. It's practice. It's learning to say, is this true? And what if it's a lie? And what if God will take care of this for me? That builds my faith. Help build my faith. Okay, now I need a house. How am I going to pay for that? Well, he paid for the car. He'll pay for the house. I don't need to worry about it. Relax and let God be God. Let God's love flow into you and be at peace.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. Now, Rod, where do you hope we are in 10 years from now in the world?
Well, in 10 years, I truly believe there's going to be a lot more peace. There's going to be more spiritual centers, spiritual people. There's going to be more equal distribution. I think that there's people out there, I know, they're figuring out how to solve saving our planet. We all think we're going to die. It's a germination process. We've been covered with dirt the planet's going to grow, there's people that are going to come up with solutions. So I see all of us as becoming free of all of these negative thoughts and feelings and fears, and becoming more trusting and more open. I have great hope for humanity. Let the light workers shine and do their thing. I can tell you, many years ago when I first started meditating, the earth was on a negative trajectory. Now it's turned 4 degrees, 5 degrees into light. That's where I see us going, is more and more light. And just look at the number of wars that have decreased in the past 2,000 years. That's growth. That's ascension. That's where I believe we're going. We're done with the cross. We're done with the ego. We're now ascending to the heavens above. That's what I see.
Yeah, love it. More peace and love to the world is exactly what we need. And trust.
Yes.
And have patience, and everything is exactly how it's supposed to be.
It's going to be more love of the fellow man. Doesn't matter if you're man, woman, what race you are, what education, what financial status, there's going to be more. I see the Christ in you, and there's going to be an equilibrium. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rod, for coming today. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It's been mind-blowing for me. I'm so grateful for your massive contribution.
Well, I'm grateful too. If anybody's interested, I have written a book called When God Calls, Say Yes, about my mystical growth and my mystical experience. And then I do have a website, drrodchelberg.com, if people want to talk to me about some of this or what they can do to make their growth better. I like to help people. And I also want to thank you for allowing me the chance to talk and to be open and give me the freedom to talk. What you're doing is to helping humanity to become brighter and lighter. And I applaud you for that. That's just wonderful. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Rod. And I'm in the description as well. I will mention your book and your webpage and how people can get in touch with you, of course. So it will be very easy for people to get in touch with you. No problems. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.